Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Tuesday Night Happy Hour with Back to Basics Dog Training. For those of you who don't know me, or for the ones that do know me, I'm Leon. I'm the trainer here over at Back to Basics Dog Training, and each and every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I bring you this live free Q&A dog training session where I answer all your dog training concerns and needs. No questions are off limits. We can talk about tools, routines, behaviors, obedience, whatever it may be. And for those I also perform this service on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the morning. So there's two ways to get me and have me come into your homes and help you guys out with your pups. For those of you who are watching now live or later on the replay, please shoot a comment. Let me know you're watching, where you're watching from. The more I see those comments, the more energetic I get, and the more the energy just changes with me. So I'm going to talk to you guys, start like I always, subject of the week. And then as the questions come in, of course, I will answer all the questions that come in. So this week, I know on Saturday morning, I was mentioning that I was hoping to get a video of me working with a very leash reactive dog in a public park. Unfortunately, the dog wasn't that bad. So there was no real good footage that I was able to get from it, but a couple good key takeaways that I got from it, which I want to pass on to you guys. So again, I had the privilege of working with the shepherd over in a park. The dog is semi-leash reactive, and the dog, he's not leash reactive because of who he is. He's leash reactive because of the tension that is being held on his leash when he's walking. And that's what I figured out. I just, when I first got and I met the owner of the dog there, we started to do the walk, and as soon as I said, okay, let's go for a walk, I saw the tension in the gentleman's body, and it was just like, whoa, slow down. And the dog instantly, from a dead sit, went boom, let's go, and instantly was in a guarded mode. I mean, it was that quick, guys. It was amazing to witness. A little scary to witness because you're talking 100-pound German Shepherd. Already before you even took a foot, was on full guard mode, full alert status. So I stopped the process. I just said, whoa, we got to stop. And I talked to him about what I always talk about, which is energy. And I took the leash. And, very relaxed, very calm. And we started the process, and the dog stayed with me. He didn't try to bolt because he was reading my energy. My energy was calm. I wasn't worried about other dogs coming or people coming or anything else. I was worried about, we're going to go for a walk. That's all that was crossing my mind. And I saw other dogs coming. And when I did see other dogs coming, what I did is I decided, okay, we're not going to go on the walkway. We're going to stay on the grassy area. And I want to see how he reacts to other dogs passing him at a 5 to 6 foot. Good morning, Joyce. People don't understand dogs pick up energy, good or bad. Absolutely, Joyce. It is so true. They read our energies. I was working with somebody else this week, and I turned around to him and I said, you got to visualize your leash as your telephone line back in the days when we had house lines. What is that telephone line doing? Sending a signal back and forth between the phones, communicating. And that's what the leash is. It's that communication line going to your dog. So if you're tense and you're putting that tension through that leash, that's what your dog's hearing and reading from us. And that's what was creating it. But what I did notice when we were about a 5 foot distance from the walkway, we were in the grass, and the dog saw the other dog. I saw this. Straight out stare. All eyes. That's what this dog was reading the world with. All eyes. So I made a correction. It wasn't a hard correction because he wasn't really doing much of anything. He was just very focused. And when I did that, he looked at me. Then he looked back towards the dogs. And I didn't say anything. And then I started seeing the nose. I can't do a dog nose. But then I started seeing his dog, him smelling. He was trying to gather in his senses. And you can see his body language change, his energy change. Guys, dogs are born a certain way, and it's nose, eyes, ears. So for the first couple of weeks of their lives, all they have is their sense of smell. That's how they find mom. That's how they find where mom is to feed. Mom doesn't stay in one section. What I'm noticing, and I started being a little bit more observant to dogs that were in the park where we were working, and dogs around here in the complex, the dogs that are reacting, they're all just using their eyesight. It's something I've known for a long time, that their eyes get them in trouble. When you can engage your dog to start using their nose, they change. But they can't really do that if you're not calm. If you're tense, they're going. They're looking. They're scouting. They're all over the place. Their heads moving. Their eyes are moving. They're just boom, 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 and they're trying to figure out what's with the tension. What's with the tension? We don't like this. We got to figure it out. We got to defend ourselves. Basically, is what's happening. The sad part is people think the dog is uncontrollable when it really them. Some will get rid of them. So very sad. The eyes tell all. Yeah, and that's true. I mean, most of the dogs that end up being given away they're just misunderstood. Period. And I've been through enough shelters, around the Long Island, up here in the Carolinas, and I'll tell you now, most of the dogs I see in those shelters are happy-go-lucky goofballs. That excited energy was misunderstood. And people don't know how to control it. And that's where I come up with my 4 C's of dog training. Calm, confidence, consistency gets control. But it starts with the calm confidence. If you don't have calm confidence, the consistency that you're going to try to give your dog is wrong. And you're sending so many mixed signals to your dog. This guy who's working with his shepherd, and he loves his shepherd, and he's really trying his hardest to do the right thing. But one, he's looking at the breed of dog he is. Well, reality check, shepherds are herding breed dogs. They're not guard dogs. They're just really smart, and we can teach them to be guard dogs. But by DNA, they're herding breed dogs. Second, he is so concerned about what the public perception of how his dog is behaving. He's not listening to what his dog is saying. So we walked around the park, and he made a couple of reactions to dogs, but they weren't explosive reactions. There was one time, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. I'll have some questions coming. We walked. I would get the walk going, and the dog is good. Yeah, a couple times I had to check him up because he was pulling me a little too much or whatever, but it wasn't major. I wasn't exhausted making corrections. Every time he started pulling a little bit, I just gave him a simple leash correction with my no, because that's what I'm telling him. I don't like that pulling. And he would get it, and he'd stay focused for the longest period of time. And then once I got a good rhythm going, I handed the leash back to the owner, and instantly the dog took off to get to the end of the leash. And I'm like, dude, man, I can break a 2x4 over your shoulders. That's how tense you are. Stop. Look at how your dog is reacting. Look at my body language. Try to feel my energy. And we did this, I can't tell you, it was over 2 hours we were working with this dog in the park. And I couldn't get through to him. And so, I'm using you guys as my sounding board here, because maybe I wasn't communicating it right, because it was totally 100% the owner's energy. Because he kept saying to me, I've had this dog for 2 years, and my dog listens to you better. So that's that frustration when I talk about no anger, no frustration. And I was trying to convince him, what's up, Vinny? So, I try to communicate to him that it's his energy that's creating the reaction he doesn't want. I've had several rescues mistreats that shepherds. It takes time, but they are loving. Some people think it's the breed. It's never the breed. It's always the human breed. Not so much. You are so right. Okay, thank you for caring. It means a lot. Joyce, I don't know if you work with a rescue group, but I'm always willing to help rescue groups do private one-on-one Zooms with rescue groups and their fosters and the volunteers and all that, to really understand the dog psychology of it, because rescue groups have a hard job, and they're rescuing these dogs no matter what their situations are. And, my goal is to move the dogs forward and not live in the dog's past. And that comes from the energy we use. And I hope I offer that service to the rescue groups at a hugely discounted rate to do these seminars for the rescue group. So if you ever really want to reach out to me, thanks, Vinny. Reach out to me. I'll get my head out of the way if I can remember which way to go. Leon at backtobasicsdogtraining.com. I'll put my contact information up here, guys. Especially for the rescue groups, reach out to me. I know we can do a lot. I've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of rescue dogs over the years to try to move them forward because I never want to live in their past. So getting back to these dogs were going to be put down, so I took them. Best dogs I had, absolutely. I've worked with numerous. I think in the 5 years I was working with one rescue group, a bunch of rescue groups on Long Island, I saved well over 100 dogs from being euthanized because they were misunderstood. People were not listening to the communication the dogs were communicating to them. Most of those dogs that have these bite histories or these unwanted behaviors is strictly out of fear, and fear is something that we can help move them past, to guide them through it, and it works. It's a beautiful thing to watch when you see that transition going from that fear stage to the happy, balanced dog they should be. But getting back to the Shepherd for a second, at one point there was another out of control dog here, and of course the Shepherd reacted. I had the Shepherd at this point. I probably missed my timing a little bit on it, to be honest with you guys, because he reacted in a way I really wasn't happy with. So I popped the leash, and when I popped the leash, he redirected and put his mouth on me. Did not hurt me, did not. It's a redirection. It happens. But because he put his mouth on me, using my instincts, the first thing I did is I grabbed him by the neck, I put him on the ground, and he fought it, and I held him there. I didn't force him through. I wasn't trying to shove him through the ground, and I'm still calm. Guys, I never change. I'm always calm. And as he relaxed, I took the pressure of my mouth or my hand on his neck, and I loosened it until he completely stayed in that submission position without my hand on him. And as soon as I got the 1-2 seconds of him just laying there, not reacting, good, and I praised him. And what did I praise him? For being in a calmer state of mind. So we got the ultimate form of discipline in a calm manner. And then when he gave me what I wanted, which was a calm state of mind, zero calm state of mind, I praised him. So we turned that ultimate of no's into a yes. And here's the beauty part of this. And this was the eye opener, the aha moment for the gentleman I was working with. I had some garbage that I had put in my pocket, and I wanted to throw it out. So I wanted everything to slow down a little bit. So I figured, you know what, let me go throw out the garbage. The garbage can was 30 feet away from me. And I started walking towards the garbage. I got about 10, 15 feet away from them. And that dog started crying for me, like, yo, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? He was upset that I was leaving. And I just turned around, came right back, not to reward him, because that was where I got to the owner. And I said, do you see what just happened here? I gave this dog the ultimate discipline, punishment, whatever word we want to use. I pinned him to the ground. I was biting his neck with my hand. I gave him the ultimate discipline, but because I stayed calm and confident, that dog was looking at me saying, dude, where you going? I need you, because I understood him. Guys, in the comments, let me know if this makes sense, because this is so important. I talk about energy all the time. The energy is what makes or breaks. It did make you smile, didn't it? Oh, absolutely, it made me smile. It made me smile because people have a misconception of disciplining a dog or punishing a dog. As a matter of fact, there was a whole Facebook chat I was part of today on this. If you're going to discipline or punish a dog, but you do it with anger and frustration, you are abusing your dog. Period. End of discussion. If you discipline your dog and you use two out of my 4 C's, the calm confidence, the key being calm, you're not abusing your dog. I'm not saying hit your dog, kick your dog, beat your dog. I didn't hit, kick, or beat that dog. I just did what another dog would do. Bam, you're done. I'm gonna teach you. You're not in charge anymore. There's a new regime here. But I didn't do it with the testosterone drive that men seem to have, and they think they got to control it. And that's why when I said I pinned the dog to the ground, it wasn't with the intent of shoving the dog through the ground. If if the dog was he was probably at about a level 5. My pressure was at a level 6. And as he calmed down, as he went from that 5 to a 4, my grip went from 6 to a 5, and so on and so forth. So every time his mind shifted to a little bit calmer, he got rewarded by me taking off some of that pressure. And that was so crucial for the owner to see that, yes, that's the ultimate form of discipline. It's not going to hurt him. It didn't scare him because he wanted me. He needed me. And yes, it put a big smile on my face more because I saw the look on the owner's face and he kind of got it. And then I was able to really drill it home. And the rest of the time there, we were there for another 45 minutes after that. One reaction, but the owner was able to control it because he tapped into that calmer energy. And the guy happens to live in the same complex I do. And I was watching him walk his dog yesterday. And I've never seen him walk that dog with such a relaxed leash. And I didn't hear the dog barking on the whole walk, because usually I hear him. So it works. Guys, that energy I talk about, being calm, being confident, it's amazing. Yes, it showed the dog I care. I disciplined my kids. Why? Because I cared and I loved them. So I disciplined them. But discipline in itself is not good enough when you're dealing with children or animals. Discipline stops the unwanted behavior. The most important part of discipline is your follow through to turn that no into a yes. Because if you don't turn that no into a yes, you're not doing anything. You're not teaching anything. You're just stopping an unwanted behavior. The object is when he completely submitted to me, when he gave it up, when my hand wasn't touching him and he still stayed there, he was relaxed. Yes, good boy, let's go. And he got it. He got it, guys. So I'll talk about discipline. I'll talk about all this stuff, but discipline in itself doesn't fix an issue. If you try to just discipline your dog may listen, but it's not because they want to, because they're afraid of you, because they're not telling them how to do the job better. Hello, Michelle. It works, guys. I always joke, I roll up my sleeves. There's nothing up my sleeves. That's why the dogs behave. What's the trick? The trick to the trade is your energy and understanding. We have dogs that are going to make mistakes. How do we handle the mistakes? We don't handle with anger or frustration. We do have a no-nonsense approach. No means no. Why? Because I said so. So I don't have to explain I didn't have to explain to the shepherd why he shouldn't be going after these other dogs. I never once even crossed my mind. But when he did, I said no. And then every time I saw that switch, yes. Hello, Michelle, Rob, Athena, and Bergen. We got to have Athena first. She's the older one. Respect the elders. So the energy worked. I mean, we had this 100-pound shepherd. And I'm going to tell you guys, I know the shepherd. I've heard him walking around this complex. And whenever he saw another dog, I heard it. I mean, he is a big bark. Absolutely, Michelle. I appreciate it. Spread the word. I tell everybody every week when I do these things, please spread the word. I mean, this is a free service. You get a bunch of training tips out of this. And then even if your friends are not local to me, they're still on Long Island or in Timbuktu. Guys, I offer Zoom training sessions, which is the most besides this free platform, is a very economical platform for me to train at, because it's not so important that I physically work with your dogs, because then your dogs will listen to me. I need them to listen to you. So it's the dog psychology. It's understanding how the energy plays into it. What's triggering your own energy when it comes to that. It's and the beauty of when I do Zoom, I focus on you. I don't do a plethora of information. Like Michelle says, Bergam barks at the TV when she sees an animal. How can we correct this? Well, and you know what? About 6, 7 years ago was the first time I ever experienced that, Michelle, and I was actually caught off guard a little bit because I was like, I've never seen this before. So what I did is I asked the customer before I got there to record animal shows. Go to the Animal Planet, I don't know, whatever it's called, record some shows, put them on your DVD, whatever, DVR, whatever it's called nowadays, and then with your leash on, and in this case, I'd probably ask Athena to be someplace else because you want to focus on Bergen at this point. And what I would do is have her on a leash, and when she starts reacting, boom, no, sit. Just disagree with it. There's no reason for it. The dog I actually worked with that was that I met that barked at the thing actually broke 2 TVs trying to attack the TV to get an animals on a screen because they don't understand the concept. And what it was is the animal would walk up the screen, the dog would get really confused and try to get it back on the side of the screen. So when you do this, it's the same theory. How do I get them not to do something? I set them up for success. So I record a couple of hours worth of animals crossing the screen, and I just sit there. Nope. And as a matter of fact, since I moved here, we were watching our neighbor's son's dogs, and one of their dogs, which ended up being both of their dogs, barked at things on the animals on the TV. Well, I watch a lot of animal shows, so that was an unacceptable behavior to me, and we fixed it, and they're happy. It definitely works. You just got to take the time to do it. I'm going to assume Jessica, I'm not sure. Definitely spread the word. Will spread. Thank you very much for the much needed information you are giving. It's absolutely my pleasure. Like I said, guys, every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we do this. And why do I do this? Because I want to live up to my goal of together we can help one dog and one family at a time. So get the word out there, guys, across the country, across the world. It doesn't matter. I want to get the word out there. Bonnie says, so I got a surprise. Oh, by the way, hi, Bonnie, and hi, Nancy. So I got a surprise the other day walking a dog. She's a great gal, peed and poop in seconds from going outside. She decided to grab the leash and play tug of war. She was very vocal and would not let go. I waited her out and moved along. Any good tips with this? Did I confuse her by not stopping the behavior? Yes and no. You did kind of confuse her a little bit. Because you want to use your discipline sound. Now, when it's in their mouth, I don't know what size dog it is. The smaller the dog, I kind of change my game plan a little bit because their teeth aren't as good as bigger dogs. But if a bigger dog does that to me, I'm going to still pop the leash, not to rip its teeth out, but to make, and with my no, because I don't agree with this. And if I don't agree with it and I never want to have this behavior happen, I got to make it uncomfortable. So even if the leash is in their mouth, I'm going to pop it and say no. And then once I get it out of their mouth, good. But then the key is get them all the way back down to calm, because that's excitement. She peed, she pooped, I'm happy. Hell, I get that way sometimes. Boom. Let's go. I peed, I pooped. Time to play. No, it's not. So you calm confidence. They grab the leash. Boom. No. Sit, wait till the mind calms, continue to walk, shorten up the leash so they can't grab it. If they start getting excited, disagree with the excitement. That's 100% excitement as far as I can tell without seeing it. Nancy, when my son was visiting Christmas, he calmly held my puppy down when she was misbehaving, bit his shoes, and would not stop when asked to stop. Absolutely. She obeyed him during the rest of his visit, even when he was playing with her. Absolutely. And at the time, I wondered about it. Is this the same type? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's the same exact thing I did with that shepherd in the park. It's the same thing I did with a 10-week-old puppy I've been helping somebody work with. It's because if you do it calmly, it's not an aggressive motion. So it's absolutely the same thing. And look what happened. He did it. She respected him and stopped the nonsense. I'm not saying every case needs this, guys, but if you say no to a dog 100 times and they're still doing the same behavior, they're basically flipping you off and saying, F you, I'm doing what the hell I want. We wouldn't tolerate it from our kids. Why do we tolerate it from the dogs? So yes, that's the exact same thing I was talking about. That happened to be a puppy being a happy-go-lucky, goofy, biting shoes, but biting shoes is an unacceptable behavior. Your son didn't like it. He handled it and disciplined the dog in a calm manner. The dog responded accordingly and respected him after that. Should we stick with the leash or use the e-collar or vibration? I would always start on the leash, Michelle. You always have the e-collar as backup, but the leash you need to make relevant too. So you could do it with the e-collar on the vibration. I have no problem with it. But time it right. So as soon as you see it, boom, bzz, or bam. I would do both personally. Because again, we want to reinforce that the pop on the leash and that vibration is the same exact thing. Stop the nonsense. Does that make sense? So, excuse me. So getting back to it, everything, and Nancy's son did it. Energy makes or breaks it. This guy that I was working with, he was overthinking way too much. He was overthinking. He's worried about what people think about him, think about his dog. I really love my dog. I want to show it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, and I've said this before, me guys, discipline, I want Webster to change it. First definition equals love, if done properly. Discipline done wrong is abuse. So that's what I said earlier. If you discipline your dogs with anger, to me, that's a form of abuse because anger is an abuse. But staying calm and confident, your dogs will get it. I've proven this to hundreds of people, thousands of people probably by now. Anybody who knows my Zoe knows she's a calm dog. No matter what goes on around her, she's not allowed to react. We have dogs barking at us all day long around here. She ignores it because that's her job. She can be sitting out on our terrace with dogs in the courtyard right here. She doesn't bark at them. They'll look up at her and bark, but she won't bark. She's not allowed to. She's allowed to bark when somebody knocks on the door or she hears something in the hallway that's out of the ordinary. What do I mean by that? If people are walking or a dog is walking in the hallway, it doesn't give her a right to bark. But when somebody comes down with a hand truck because they're moving something in or out of their apartment, that's an unusual sound that she's allowed to bark at. And she knows the difference. But again, I worked on this. I work very hard on my dog. You know, she still gets worked on every single day. But I can't stress this enough. I mean, guys, I talk about our leash being our communicator, but your energy through that leash is going to be what your dog understands. Stop with all the words. This is one of the problems I have with the guy with the shepherd. He talked to the dog. I'm disciplining the dog. He's barking out commands. I had to finally tell him, you know, politely to shut up. When I discipline a dog, I'm silent. I say my no once, and then I go to work. It's silent because that when you're talking, it's a different energy. Energy is energy. As a matter of fact, the 10-week-old dog that I'm working with, he had a thing about biting the plants, one of the plants in the house. And, you know, here's how, you know, let me back it up a little bit. So this 10-week-old dog was eating a plant in the house, and Dad was right there, and Dad was like, nope, and pushing the dog away. Nope, pushing the dog away, and the dog kept coming back. Nope, and the dog kept coming back. And I'm sitting there in the dining room watching this and kind of laughing on the inside. And I know this guy, we're friends, so I can have fun with him. And eventually, after about 4 or 5 times of him, and I could see the frustration build up, I'm like, okay, let me help you out here. And I got up, dog went for the plant. I took 3 fingers, I bit him in the neck at the same time as saying, nope. He came back one other time for the plant. I did it again. Nope. And he walked away from the plant saying, nope, I guess I'm really not supposed to do that. So I explained to the gentleman when he pushed the dog away, it actually created forward motion, became a game, which is never a good thing. So that was about a week ago. I saw him, and I saw him again. I'm so lost on my days. Sunday, I think I saw him. And we were talking. I just wanted to find out how things were going. And he was telling me about, I said, how's it going with the plant? He goes, well, now he knows. I say, make good decisions. And he leaves the plant alone. So I challenged him. And I said, okay, what I want you to do, because he uses a snap like I do. So he was make good decisions. And the dog would leave the plant alone. I said, I challenge you. I said, I want you to do the same thing, but use the energy that you said, make good decisions, and don't say the words. So while we're sitting there, dog went towards the plant. He snapped his fingers and just used the energy. Dog looked at him, and walked away. The energy is the communicator. The verbal is for us. Makes us feel good. We talk to our dogs. Make good decisions. I don't think the dog is really thinking about it. It's like people that, send their kids to the room. Think about what you did. I know people that do that with dogs. They put them in the crates or into another room. Think about what you did. They're not going to think about it. They're not going to think about making better decisions. You got to guide them on how to make the better decision and reward the better decision. So when we did this exercise Sunday, and just by the energy being thrown at the dog, for lack of better terms, as soon as the dog walked away, good boy. We both were in our glory, and you can see the dog's like, okay. And then he'd walk by the plant. When he didn't look at the plant, we praised him. So we started to make better decisions without us having to tell him to make better decisions, because that's the object of this. This dog, the shepherd I worked with in the park, my goal is to have him make better decision. What's the better decision? Stop reacting to other dogs. Use your nose more, less eyes. And once they use their nose, they get it. This is the second dog I've worked with down here with leash reactivity. And I'm sorry I couldn't get either one of them recorded. But both of them, what I noticed is it was all based on eyesight. And as soon as I see that little twinkle of the nose, they calm down, because that's truly how they gather information. You and I get it from our eyes and our ears. They get it from their nose. That's why deaf dogs and blind dogs survive so much better in this world than we do, because they don't need it. They don't need it. Their sense of smell is, I forgot, some 60,000 times better than ours, or 600,000 times better than ours. I always forget the number, but it's something ridiculous. And once you can get them back to using their nose, a lot of unwanted behaviors with reactivity stop. That's why I always say, a dog that sits there and goes, I'm fine with that. When they stop, I get nervous. Not that I get nervous, but then I go, okay, what's going on? Because that means they're not relaxed. If I don't see their nose moving and they're using all their eyesight, even directed towards me, I'm like, well, okay, we got to slow it down. You'll see that with a lot of your insecure or fearful dogs. They don't use their nose at all. Everything is based on eyesight, and it scares the living crap out of them. So with insecure dogs, fearful dogs, I try to sometimes take a bandana and soak with lavender or something that has a good smell, just to unlock the nose again. And anybody who is dealing with fearful dogs, lavender is a great thing, because once you get their nose involved, then it's a nice, pleasant smell. It's also a calming smell. Lavender works really great. You can soak a bandana in it, keep it by your hand, keep it near them, let them. When you see that, that's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. With that being said, guys, we're at a little over a half hour. If there's any questions, pop them in now, because we're going to be wrapping it up soon. I appreciate you guys, as always, inviting me into your homes each and every Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be here with you guys, for giving me some time on a weeknight, work night. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you very, very much. With no other questions, guys, as always, stay healthy, stay safe, God bless. And remember, together, we can help one dog and one family at a time. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. See most of you on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. If not, I'll see you next Tuesday night. Enjoy the rest of your evening.